Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Funnel Trade. So it's been about a week since I made an update video for you guys. On the storefront, I got my commercial insurance policy set up and paid for. I got my fire extinguisher and, fire marshal stuff done and set up so that can all get delivered on the first day that I have access to the place. I have built up the little, 15 feet of partition wall that I need. I've that built up in sections in my garage. I've still got to paint it, but that should be pretty quick. Just throw them all down on the floor, take the roller, and put a couple coats of paint on them. And I've been working on just getting a little bit of starting inventory. I've been working on that actually for a couple of months, but accelerating that a little bit, but also just looking at what's coming up with uh, Black Friday and, the market getting squishier. And so some of my contacts being willing to, well, basically sell at cheaper prices. So I'm kind of trading in some of my goodwill in order to ring them for a little better prices on things right now. I'm probably going to walk in there with somewhere around 20 to $30,000 of inventory in the store. Final trade over the last 5 years, I've built up way more than that, but not all of it is stuff that's really relevant to sell in a brick and mortar store today. A lot of it is kind of older stuff, a lot of older Pokemon that would sell, but would sell pretty slowly. And so, I'll probably have that dribble into the store over time just to slowly move bits of that. And the same with a lot of the old Magic, like the collector boxes. But, the odds are there aren't going to be a lot of people walking into the store to buy a 5-year old Magic collector box. It's a way different market than Pokemon is. So I got that stuff settled out, and I still need to go buy display cases. There is a vendor here in Dallas that has a showroom. I'm gonna go by there. I got to do it this week because next week is Thanksgiving, and a lot of places are gonna have really sketchy hours all week long. So to the extent that I've got to get stuff done that relies on other people, I got to try to get it done in the last 3.5 days of this week before we go into Thanksgiving next week, because the Monday after Thanksgiving is when I get access to the place. I can start cleaning, moving in, building everything up, getting things set up. Um, on the point of sale system, I had looked at Stripe and Square and PayPal and a couple of others. They all suck. They're all very user unfriendly. They all have very poor software. They all ban your account at the drop of a hat. They all suspend your money for nothing. So, it's pick your poison. And since I'm already set up with PayPal for so much of my business, maybe I'll have a little less trouble with them. So I went with the PayPal system. Now I've started setting up inventory on the website side of their point of sale system so that, when you scan a product, it'll come up and have your price and everything with it. Um, I don't have that nearly done, but I have about 120 items that I've entered in so far, and I may end up moving all my inventory into that. I'm going to initially just use their system for running the inventory that is physically in the store. And if it looks like the capabilities are there, I may transition the business's entire inventory into that system instead of the spreadsheets I've been using for the last 5 years. But after 5 years of doing it on spreadsheets, the spreadsheets are really robust and really good. So, I've put the time into them to make them very user friendly and make them able to do the things I need them to do. So there's something like a 30-day return window on the hardware for that system. So I have not ordered it yet, since I still have another 10 or 11 days before I even get physically to the store. And then some number of days after that before I can do a soft opening and actually have customers come in and try to buy something with the system. So right now, the soft open date is I'm aiming for, I think it's Saturday, December 13th. That's when Arlington does their Christmas parade. So I'm hoping to be able to have the place open and have people come in while the downtown is packed with people for the Christmas parade. So that right now is the goal. In terms of actually getting there, I have most of the tables I need. I've still got to order chairs, but I was waiting for Black Friday for that. And because the chairs were not as long of a lead time item as the tables. I've still got to get those display cases, and then I'll have to physically move everything in there, which is going to be an absolute bear. On the plus side of that, I can hit every light red, and it takes 9 minutes to get from my house to the store. So that is on the upside when it comes to making trips back and forth to physically move things in. But I gotta get everything in. Putting up the partition wall should probably take less than a day because I'll already have them built up and painted. I'll have to erect them, attach them to each other, get them planted in place, and then do whatever little bit of taping and floating or patching or whatever I decide to do in between each panel, and then, painting over that. So I think I can probably get those walls done in less than a day. And then aiming for the 13th when you start on the 1st, I think it's doable. Maybe I'm absolutely kidding myself, and it totally won't be. But right now, having had essentially 2 months after leaving my engineering career to get all this stuff organized in the background and get things ordered and purchased and built and signed up for and paid for and everything else, it's going really well. So I'm not panicking yet. I think by the end of this week, depending on what I do or don't get done, and the fact that most things will not be available to work with next week for Thanksgiving, I think that's when I'm going to start panicking. And essentially, when I get in on Monday, December 1st, I'll have the scheduled inspections from the city for certificate of occupancy. They make us go through that, even if the previous tenant had a valid one the day before. You're a new tenant running a new business. They make us get another one and they wring the money out of you. So, get used to that. If you ever go into business for anything, you've always got a bureaucrat with his hand out expecting to get paid for delivering zero value. At the same time, on the 1st, I'll be scheduled for the fire marshal to come do his inspection after the fire extinguishers get delivered. So, I've got an appointment for that, something like 9:30 in the morning on the 1st. The fire extinguishers are supposed to show up, and the service that provides those is supposed to install them, which I guess means, use two screws to hang a hook on a wall, whatever. Um, that should get done, and then when they are done doing that, then you can safely start moving things in. I've been advised that you don't want to move anything in before you get those two inspections done because, being city bureaucrats, they will try to find something wrong. If they absolutely can, they will find something wrong with the place. So if you literally unlock the door and just leave, so you're not there for them to ask any questions, and there's nothing in the place for them to have any complaint about, it's a bare floor and bare walls, then you can hopefully get through it. So that's what I'm hoping for. And then sometime, Monday late morning or afternoon, more likely, I can go and actually start physically bringing stuff there. I'm contemplating renting a U-Haul truck for one day, but again, not knowing exactly when they're going to finish up the inspections and stuff, I'm a little reticent on that. Maybe I could get it Monday evening, load it up at my house Monday night, and then Tuesday morning, December 2nd, maybe I could go and move everything in from the U-Haul. It would probably be a pretty good way to do it because then I could just load up most or nearly all of the stuff and just take it in one trip, and then Tuesday just grab a couple of people and have them help me carry everything inside. I've still got to get vinyl signs for the windows. Everyone in that center has vinyl signs currently in their windows. I'm going to do the same. And there's some really nice big windows on the space that I have. But I've got to do that. My wife had volunteered to help me with that. And I just need to take advantage of that. So lots to do still. I'm not panicking yet, but everything is coming together. And since I've kind of set the soft open goal of December 13th, I think I can hit that. So we shall see. I'll bring you guys along for the ride. Don't worry. My garage looks like hell right now with absolutely no room to move around. And man, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I have not even got it into most of the signups for different distributors that I need and everything surrounding that. I've started working with a couple of them, getting some accounts set up, and with one of them starting to get some things ordered. But golly, that's going to be a whole nother different type of bureaucratic nightmare. So it's going to be great, guys. And man, I am looking forward to it and thinking that 5 years ago, this time, I was contemplating how could I grow a business into a thing that I could do part time and maybe eventually make a little bit of extra money off of. And now it's grown so far past any type of ambition I ever had at the start. It's unbelievable. So thanks everybody for coming with me and stay with me. We'll keep going, and it's gonna it's gonna be really exciting. We'll have another sealed sale this Thursday. I haven't even gotten to look at what it might be yet, so I'll try to get something up about that pretty soon. Thanks to everyone who makes this content possible, especially all my generous supporters on Patreon. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade.